Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight.
And now we move on to our Spotlight section and we talk about Samsung One UI Beta 7, which is Samsung's rollout of Android 15 with its own particular skin. And for reasons I'll come on to talk about in a minute, I'm going to have to ask John to introduce this, I think.
The beta is finally here. That's the introduction. All right, seriously, I'll answer the question that everybody has just to get things started, because this is something you never know until the beta is released. And this version of, because Samsung's version of TalkBack is always released with the operating system, so you have to wait till the next version or beta of the operating system to see what version it's going to come with. And it does come with TalkBack 15.1, but don't get your hopes up because Gemini image descriptions are not included. There's still no image descriptions at all. It's just icon description and text description.
Before we talk about that, you guys remember we were talking about it, and now who proved to be correct? I think someone was saying that it's going to come with 15.1, and it was me, wasn't it? You remember, John?
Yeah, but you said that image description will be included. So
no. I said it's going to be coming with 15.1. No, we were not talking about necessarily
we were, and I John and I were skeptical regarding the image description thing and Gemini, and I think we were proven right because it's just without any sort of description.
I'll admit that I was wrong because I was wrong in both cases because I was expecting it to only have 15.0, but I was also expecting it to have Gemini image description, so I was wrong.
Yeah, I think that for me, I was saying it was going to be 15.1, and you were saying it's going to be 15, and I'm like, I don't see a reason for it to come with 15. It should be coming with 15.1, and that's the point that I was stressing when we talked about that. But, I don't know what it would take though for Samsung.
I mean, the point is it doesn't matter. The image descriptions are what matters. To be quite honest, I don't remember what I said, but I remember what I thought. And I would not have been surprised if it came with 15.0 because this thing has, even though it hasn't been a public beta, it has been in beta, for a while internally, and 15.1 was just released. So I am surprised that it included 15.1, but it doesn't really matter because the 15.1 features are not what people were looking forward to. They were looking forward to the 15.0 features, or the Gemini image description feature that was included in 15.0, which is absent.
Yeah, but if this supports the some of the Braille problems that we were having, that's another critical area there that people are, interested in. But of course, not many people use those Braille devices. But frankly, so would there be a reason why Samsung will not, support or would not include image description as we have on the Pixel phones and other phones that support TalkBack 15.1 coming directly from the Play Store? So in other words, if other phones, if they're getting TalkBack 15.1 from the Play Store, could take advantage of this. I don't know why Samsung is not doing that, because it's not like Samsung doesn't have access to Gemini. They have access to it just like any other Android phone out there. So is there a way that anyone could untangle the mystery as to why this image description will not be part of this TalkBack 15.1 that comes alongside with One UI 7 beta. John, you think
I'll have
you
my
know the
people
mystery?
contact Samsung's people, and we'll get them on the podcast, and we'll
Yeah,
get
because
them to explain themselves. How's
it
that?
really doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it's. I mean, if they were gonna give up on this whole we need our own version of talkback thing, it would have been now. Like, this is the biggest. This is a big disappointment. I mean, I will say it's still just a beta, but I'd be shocked if it's included in the final release, because in the past, now obviously the past doesn't determine the future, but in the past, the talkback itself hasn't really changed during the beta cycle. What you get in the beta is what you get in the public version, so I don't expect things to change, but that is a possibility. So yeah, I don't know, but if this is the case, it's bad, and Samsung should have just. I mean, we've been saying this all along, but now more than ever, Samsung should do away with this we need our own version of talkback thing.
And the problem is that Samsung is doing this with other services. So it moved to Google Messages, and it's now removing the DeX. It's discontinuing the DeX to use the phone link. So if they are doing this with mainstream apps, with other services, why are they like insisting on having TalkBack, their own version of TalkBack, where it doesn't give the users anything positive that they can like give as an excuse? So I'm unable to get this point, especially now when they are moving to other apps like Google Apps and the phone link and stuff. So I don't know what's really the thing here.
Karen, I think you made a very important point, and the key word here that I really like that you use is insisting. If Samsung insisting on keeping its talkback, and yet in the same breath they are doing away with their own messages. And by the way, if you're on Verizon has said that, hey, the Samsung messages, if you are still using it, they're going to be pulling the plug on the RCS support. So basically, they're forcing everyone to use the Google messages if you're on a Samsung phone. And so if they're doing that, Karen, like you said, insisting on keeping TalkBack from their own Play Store is not a very good thing, because I think they are not doing us blind people a good service here. Because if you are doing these things to other users, I mean, of course, we're part of that users as well. But why not give us that ability of getting rid of your own TalkBack and let it come directly from the Play Store? Frankly, I wish there's a way we could get hold of someone in the higher ups of the Samsung, ladder, to really talk about this, because this is not good. I'm a little bit upset about it. Samsung is not my main driving phone, but I think it's not good for whether you use it or not. We should have TalkBack coming directly from the Play Store. And like you said, Karen, let's just roll that out to us and forget about it. I know they want to have their own, but if you want to have your own, bring back your voice assistant or whatever, and have it the way that it used to be. If you want to use voice assistant, it's there, and if you want to use TalkBack, you're getting it directly from the Play Store. I think that would be the solution if they still want to have their own thing going on, rather than kind of always giving the short end of the stick to blind users who rely on TalkBack, and yet you are not giving them all the capabilities of the TalkBack. I think that's just ethically wrong. I'm even going to go out on a limb and say this unethical.
Before I come out with a silly comment, which I am going to do, John, can you just talk to us about what talkbacks you can have running on a phone? I know we have a video where you can uninstall a Samsung version of TalkBack and install a Google version of TalkBack. Once you've done that, could you put the Samsung version back on and not affect Google TalkBack? And is there any reason you might want to?
I don't think there's any reason a regular person would want to, but I have done it in the past in One UI 6 and 6.1. You could, and any previous version, you only remove Samsung's TalkBack so that you can assign a shortcut to Google's TalkBack. And once you have that shortcut assigned, you can reinstall Samsung's, and you can obviously not run them at the same time, but you can switch between the two. You can have them assigned to separate shortcuts and switch back and forth.
And do you put Samsung's TalkBack
but John-
back on via the Galaxy Store, or do you do it with another batch file command? Will it install from the Galaxy Store if Google's TalkBack is on there?
Previously, yes, you could install it from the Galaxy Store. You just go back in the Galaxy Store and hit install, and that's it.
John, I have a question regarding this. If I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you are using Google's TalkBack and you have Samsung TalkBack installed, and you start your device, it will come up with the Samsung's version. It will run it without, like, it will be switching to the Samsung's version. Wasn't that the case? Or I'm wrong?
Yeah,
I can try
that
it,
is
but
the case.
actually I'm using Joshua, as you know. But I think this is the case.
Yeah, you're right. If you're using Google's TalkBack after every reboot or after every time you turn the phone back on, it will automatically start up Samsung's TalkBack if you have them both installed. So you have to remember to switch back to Google's if you want to use Google's.
Yeah, so this is bad because, not everyone can do that. And to, go through all of that just to do that, the whole premise is wrong, if you ask me, because really, Samsung needs to do something about this. Either, bring back your voice assistant or whatever. But if you're going to be doing TalkBack, by heaven, let us have exactly what the TalkBack is, or all the capabilities that TalkBack has, instead of giving us half of this and not the complete, and always behind in the iteration of the app and all of that. I mean, we've been waiting for a very long time. It's like on what I think, if you're running the stable, is still not. Is it still not like 14.5? I think it's still 14.5, not even 15.0. So come on, guys, do something about this. This is not good.
And I should mention, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that this is just because I'm running the beta. But as of now, once you uninstall Samsung's TalkBack, you cannot reinstall it. So that's not something I've noticed in the past, but I honestly can't remember if I've ever done this on a beta where I've installed Google's TalkBack and had to remove Samsung's TalkBack. But yeah, you cannot reinstall it at all, like even from the Galaxy Store, even if you use ADB to try to install the APK, or if you have the APK backed up locally and you try to reinstall it, like, it just won't let you reinstall Samsung's TalkBack. Once it's gone forever. And I'm hoping this is just because it's a beta, because if that's the case and it's released like this, then I probably won't recommend anybody putting Google's TalkBack on here anymore if it means that you have to permanently remove Samsung's TalkBack.
That totally makes sense, John. And, keep us updated, most especially when the final one comes out next year. I mean, in other words, when we have a fully public release of One UI 7, because this is something to keep an eye on. If that's going to be the same, then frankly, we have a problem.
And John talked about the past before, I think, when he was talking about past versions of TalkBack. So all I will say to that is, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past.
Yeah, and the funny thing, though, is some of these gestures, the multi-finger gestures, we have those, courtesy of the Samsung guys. And so you brought something good. Let's keep the good stuff going, shall we? Why are we now regressing and not doing the things that we were known for? I've always praised the, the accessibility implementations from Samsung, but sometimes they kind of mess things up, just like everyone else does. And so, come on, guys, do the right thing. And talking about doing the right thing, the one thing that Samsung needs to do right, just like Google does, like they just rolled out this One UI 7 beta, and only the S24 series can take advantage of. Why in the world are you not including at least S22, S23? And I'm looking at Google. Google pushed out Android Developer Preview for Android 16, and it's not on the Pixel 9 that qualifies. It goes back. And so this is where Samsung is not doing things right. And frankly, if I were a Samsung user, this actually would make me not to be someone who wants to use a Samsung devices, because I always want to be on the latest OS as much as I can. And if Samsung does this, this is not good. I mean, someone has, for example, S23 or S22, or maybe even the Ultra version. And if you are not going to give all the other bottom barrel thing, this, at least give the Ultras, S22 Ultra, S23 Ultra, whatever. Let them jump onto that beta, but not allowing them to jump onto it, only allowing the S24 series, I think it just pours cold water on Samsung, and I'm not a fan.
One thing I found interesting, I have an S24 Ultra, and I bought it from one of our secondhand phone stores. This one is a pretty big chain, so it sells a lot of secondhand tech. It sells DVDs, but they sell you a phone, and you don't really know where it came from. You typically, well, no, you never get a box. They will sell you a lead. You don't get a charger. And transpires that my S24 Ultra came from a carrier, which isn't a big deal, except that for the One UI 7 beta, you can't install it if you have a carrier phone. I don't really know why this is, but yeah, I have an S24 Ultra. And it cannot install the beta, and that's the way Samsung does it, I guess.
Yeah, so that's another bad part about it, because I mean, it's S24 is an S24, right? And most especially, you have the Ultra of all things. It should be able to have that, whether it's from a carrier or not from a carrier. So I don't know why that is, unless if they're just doing that in the UK. I don't know if it's the same here in the US. I don't think so. So I don't know what's going on there. That's really odd. And this is why probably they should do it the way Google does it. Because on Google, like they do the developer preview, you can just go on the web page and, plug in your phone and just tell it to install this. You don't have to know anything. Just follow the prompts and it will be installed for you. And then the subsequent ones will just come, via OTA. So I think there's a lot that Samsung needs to be doing here that they're not doing. And most especially while we're talking about this, I'm not particularly happy about the PC experience when it comes to the Samsung suites of apps that need to control the phone, or one needs to be able to install something to the phone. I remember John was talking about, was it upgrading something, the Samsung suite thing, trying to use it on the phone, or update a phone by the PC or something. I don't remember what it was.
So
that you need decided support.
Yeah, and this is worth pointing out, if you decide you want to enroll in the beta, the only way to unenroll from the beta, if you change your mind and want to go back to One UI 6, is to connect it to a PC and use Samsung Smart Switch software.
It's a witch at this point now, John.
The Smart Switch software, and I'd be surprised if it's changed, but last time I tested it, it was like completely inaccessible. Like you couldn't even put buttons in focus. So you'd have to have somebody sighted. I mean, it's not a long process, but just keep in mind you will need sighted help, whether it be Be My Eyes Ira or an actual person to get this back up and running to, the stable version.
Yeah, so this is why they're not implementing it right. They should do it the way Google does it. You go to that page of the enrollment and just tap on unenroll, and voila, there it is. Frankly, why are we making something that is so uncomplicated complicated? Like I always say, take the complicated out of the uncomplicated. And Samsung is making things unnecessarily complicated when it shouldn't be. And I'm not happy about it, guys, as you can hear today. I wish we get someone from Samsung to really talk about these things, especially that talkback. I'm still a little bit upset about it.
We haven't actually talked about any features of the Samsung beta, have we? We should do that, I think.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and point out some things that I've noticed so far. I guess the big thing that people have been talking about is the new quick panel is completely separate from the notification shade. So the notification shade no longer has quick panel quick settings along the top. It's just notifications. And in order to get the quick panel, you need to swipe down from the top right of the screen. And if you swipe down from anywhere else along the top of the screen, that will just bring down the notification shade. The problem with this is it's hard, because TalkBack requires 2 fingers. It's hard to get 2 fingers to swipe down from the top right corner. And at least I've found it difficult to do consistently. So I will say that if you assign a TalkBack gesture to Open Quick Settings, that still does work. So I've just had my, swiping right then down brings down notifications. So I set swiping left and down to bring down quick settings. Is that just how I get to it now? Because it's too difficult to try to do it the other way. And I'm not completely sure, but I haven't seen a place to revert back to the old way of doing things, where if you just swipe down to the notifications and then swipe down a second time, it'll take you to the quick panel. There might be a way to revert back to that behavior, but so far I haven't found it, if it's there.
Well, do you? Is it now? The items that are on the top, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and stuff that were in the notification shade, and you were able to customize them. Are they still there? First, drag down to bring the quick settings. I know that it works with notifications, but I don't know if it will work now in this iteration, if it's going to work, if it's going to know the position of the finger. And so you can just double tap and hold, and it will determine if you are going to the quick settings or notification shade from the position that your finger is on. Did you try it?
No. So I'll answer your first question. No, there's no quick. Those 5 or 6, I guess it was, icons that are on the notification shade, they're no longer there. And so when you customize the quick panel, you're only customizing the quick panel. You don't have the option to customize the full quick panel and the I forget what they call it, but the notification shade quick buttons. They're just gone now. And then for the second thing,
I don't like that at all.
What were you asking me to do? Yeah.
I asked you.
I'll try it right now. Okay, so I tried it and it worked. I put the battery percentage in focus because that was at the top right of the right side of the status bar. I double tapped and held it, and then I moved my finger down, and it did bring down the quick settings panel.
Oh, that's good. And are you able to bring the notification shade by focusing another item?
Yes. When I focused the clock or the time in the top left and did the same thing, it brought down the notification shade.
So in some of the literature about this feature, it sounds like one could choose which one they want. So we have the separate or the together. That's how it's worded. So if you want them together, like it used to be, you could opt in to have them together, or have them separate. I don't know how that is done, but if one is able to just do what you just did, John, I think that is good enough.
Yeah, and I will point out some of the differences in the new quick settings panel. So by default, it looks the same as what you're used to. You have the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth buttons in the first row. Then you have all the other quick settings below it. Then below that is the brightness bar, and to the right of the brightness bar is dark mode toggle. And then under that is the media player, and under that is, I think it's like device control or something. I don't remember. But what's different now is that you can rearrange these sections. So if you want, so while you can't get rid of any of them, you can move them. So like if you want the media player to be at the top, you can move it to the top. If you want your customizable quick settings to be at the top rather than the Wi-Fi Bluetooth, you can move them up. You can move like the Wi-Fi Bluetooth all the way down to the bottom if you want. So all of that stuff is now rearrangeable. And another thing I want to mention, because I know this will make a lot of people happy, is it took me a while to find, but you can have a vertical app drawer now, or what Samsung calls what Samsung
This is
calls
a very big deal.
the app screen. Yeah, and I was disappointed at first because I could not find a setting anywhere to change, and it was just the pages. But what I found out is that when you're on the app screen, you can go to the More Options menu and change the sorting from custom to alphabetical. And once you do that, it also changes the app drawer from being pages to just being a vertical scroll list. So you can now have, although it's not a setting you could change, if you do set your app drawer or app screen to be sorted alphabetically, it will become a vertical scrolling app drawer.
And is that no longer a good lock thing? Because I know that before they broke it, you needed to install good lock to get the vertical apps list in the.
Yeah, it's no longer a good lock thing. Home Up doesn't even work. Usually Home Up doesn't work with the betas. So yeah, that's not even installed or activated on my phone right now.
And this used to be one of those deal breakers. Those horizontal, scrolling of pages within the apps drawer when it comes to the One UI. And I'm glad, that they fixed this. I mean, but they should have just implemented, versus, someone needing to do that. Because if someone didn't know how to do that. But John, I have a question for you. And this is one of the big buggers for me that I didn't like or I don't like when it comes to the Samsung devices. For example, like when I go to that apps drawer, it doesn't pop up the keyboard. Most Android devices would, or you could tap on the More Options and set it to always pop up the keyboard. I know that the OnePlus does that, and the Nothing phone that I had, has that to where you could say when I go to the App Store, pop up the keyboard so I could just search for what I'm looking for. I couldn't find that on the Galaxy devices. Do you notice that? I know you have it in your hand. Can you take a look at that and see if that is now changed? And also another thing.
That'd be really annoying. I wouldn't want that to happen. It doesn't happen on my launcher. No, I don't want that. I don't want the keyboard popping up over my apps list.
Yeah, because I want to search my apps drawer. And another thing that I don't like, and I don't know, maybe it's fixed in the One UI 7. Say I open a folder containing, let's say I open my e-reader folder, for example. With my Pixel, it will focus on the first item in that folder, not with my Samsung devices. Is that fixed? Do you know, John?
So I have some bad news for you and some good news for you.
Good. Give me the bad news first.
Okay, the bad news is your ridiculous I want the keyboard to pop on screen. It's not there.
I'm glad that doesn't work. Why would you want it to?
No,
that's nonsense.
But just to be clear, I think he's asking for an option to turn this behavior on. having it be like that by default would be ridiculous. But no,
But
I
just
did not
have a
notice.
search on your home screen. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like,
So there is still a search in the app drawer, and if you
Yeah.
double tap on the edit field, it does bring up the keyboard. But there's no setting to have it automatically bring up the keyboard. The good news is it is putting, and I did notice this because that did bother me. It does put the first app in focus when you open the folder automatically.
Oh, I love it. Because that's one of the, the bothers that really bothered me. It's kind of like, it's like nitpicking things or whatever, but little things like that sometimes rub people the wrong way. I know they're not big things that really matter, but I think it all boils down to how one is used to doing things, and then little things like that just kind of bother you.
That is one of the reasons. It's not the only reason, but it is one of the reasons why I use Notable Launcher on my Samsung phone, because when you open a folder, it does put the first item in focus.
So that's right. That's really good that they fixed that, because it's quite a bother for me. But I know I shouldn't be complaining about something that minor, but yeah, I do. And like that search, frankly, I don't want to open up I'm trying to look for an app, and then I need to go tap the search field at the top. No. I'm going to look for an app. I want a keyboard right there to look for it.
no. I mean, maybe when it had a silly horizontal page thing, you might do that. But no.
Well, now it has the horizontal pages, but frankly, if you're not going to do that, then make it an option. If you don't want to do that, then don't turn it on. But if you want that, you turn it on. Like I said, OnePlus does it that way. The Nothing phone guys do it that way. And, Motorola, I have a Moto phone here. It does it that way too.
Am I understanding what you want correctly? Do you want it to display the keyboard always when you are in the app drawer?
Yes.
I don't think Nothing does that.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. You guys are not getting what I'm saying. So I want to go look for, say I want to go look for YouTube music. I don't have it on my home screen. I pop up the apps drawer, and I need to either scroll to go find it, or tap the search to pop up the keyboard. So as soon as I
use
get
Gemini
in
or
there,
Bixby.
oh no, well I don't. It's not all the time that you can talk to the phone, my dear. There are
I'm pretty
times
sure
that you
Nothing
can
phone
talk to the
doesn't do
phone,
that.
and there are times that I don't want to use my voice. So I just want to,
He
I
doesn't
want
want his wife knowing what apps he's opening. Let's be honest.
He's opening floozies.
It's
Oh my
and
God.
this is the type of app, just to be clear, this is the type of app that you would not have on your home screen. You would have it hidden away in your app drawer, and you would have to type out a search to find it.
Oh my gosh, John.
FLOZ.
I don't want her to know.
Makes
But,
total sense.
But I do understand where you're coming from, Warren, because not the secret app
Warren.
thing, but being able to type. Because I use this in Nova Launcher. I have a gesture set to open Nova Search. So, but it's not my app drawer. So, like, I swipe up with 2 fingers to get to my app drawer, but I also have it set that if I do the home gesture when I'm already on the home screen, that brings up search. And I do use that a lot, and it's nice, but I wouldn't want that as a replacement for my app drawer.
So it's just doing things right, because Android is all about choice, right? So give people choices. That's all I'm trying to say
Yeah.
here.
I would like the option also. I think that would be nice.